going on over here about this dude out here in Pennsylvania who shot and murdered the United Healthcare person. That's what this particular story is about.
Jay-Z's being accused of hiring private investors.
And prior to that story, I was listening to this story about Jay-Z and company, Diddy, and the whole entertainment industry that has been exposed. Somebody then ripped the cover off of their behinds, and their asses are showing, and all the shit that they have engaged in. The shit being traumatic stress of the human intentional type. Graping, I'm supposed to say graping, taking from someone what they did not give to you willingly. When you drug and you use drugs and alcohol, that alcohol lowers all defenses, right? And all kind of shit start coming out. When people are intoxicated and or under the influence of some other shit. And I have been following this shit for, since it kicked off, since the covers have been pulled back, as Cat Williams told us it would be, because this is revelation time. And I'm live. You're in the recovery room of Racism Not Anonymous. Hey, did I tell you I am Sis Abena Africa, the recovering African who is still culturally enslaved here in America. And I am a representative from the voices in the margins, true to the cause of African liberation via unification, utilizing the tool of healthy and effective communications. I am a traumatized traumatologist, trauma queen, and queen of trauma. And that is understanding trauma and traumatic stress, what it is and how it has and continues to work in the lives of not only us African descendants, yet in the lives of people in the world. Because as I have come to know, so many, too many, all over the world, the way people socialize, train, rear a child, the things that people do to their children, that thing is like, so you all may not be able to hear what I hear in my background music here. I'm the Marleys. Ain't doing much longer. Fear is in the eyes of the beholder, and love is in the live much longer. Celeste never born in no manger. So you probably can't hear it. I don't think that people can hear my music. I can hear my music, and that's a good thing for me because I need my music to keep me going. It helps keep me grounded and centered in understanding, and it provides me hope when I listen to roots culture reggae music. Because it was written up in the book of life. There's a mansion. That all this shit that we are experiencing here on planet Earth at this particular time, 2024. Today is December 12th. Excuse me, December 10th. Why am I 2 days ahead? December 12th is an anniversary date for a family member of mine. I remember my Aunt Bessie, and her Earth Day is 12/12. So it's coming up. However, I remember all my elders, my aunts, my grandparents, all those women from that generation before me. Even though there's been a severe and significant disconnect across the generations in my family, maybe in your family too. And yeah, if the grandmommy, she wasn't a big mama in that regard. However, she was grandmommy. And when grandmommy made her transition, family kind of fell apart. Crack came in, and the rest is history, so to speak. Such that there's a significant disconnect across the generations, and for myself, there's a severe and significant disconnect with my cousins, my siblings, and my cousins. Yeah, I'm not sure what triggered that 12/12 when I said 12/12, and remembering that Bessie's birthday is December 12th, not December 10th. So the day is 12/10/2024. And in news today, Jay-Z has been named as a perpetrator of abuse to a minor, to a child. What has been happening to our children all over the world, the way parents have been raising their children. It's hard to even say raising. Do I say raising them? I don't know what to call it. However, people are full of shit. And this shit is those deep emotional wounds from childhood, first and foremost. And then not only do we incur wounds from our family members during childhood, we are also getting the wounds from the societal level in the form of entertainment, television, television, telling lies to your vision. And the impact that it has had in the lives of people. That's sort of what I do, what I think about, what I talk about, what I teach about, where I come from, you know. First and foremost, looking at myself, because this is a revolutionary 12-step self-help program. So first things first, here in the room of recovery of racism non-anonymous, again, it is that revolutionary 12-step self-help program that Malcolm X suggested to us that we needed. And he said that 60 years ago. And the time is now for that program. People weren't ready for this program when I introduced it to my family some 25 years ago. Yeah, or more. About 25 years ago. This 2024. It was back in 2000, 1999, when I was an active student, PhD student in couple and family therapy over at Drexel University. And it was during that time, in the late 90s and early 2000s, that I began to put together this program called Racism Non-Anonymous, because racism in the lives of this Black woman is not a secret. Not a secret. Non-anonymous, not a secret, right? And I learned first as a patient, then as a student, and then as a clinician and AKA practitioner, of mental, emotional health stuff, uh, that's when I began to put together the RNA program. And in the early 2000s, the late 90s, by the end of the 90s, our communities were pretty much cracked up. It was a done deal. The community was cracked up. The behaviors of the people were kind of like coming from all fields of left field stuff. The thinking and behaving was such that, I mean, I don't even know how really right now to describe it, because as I think about it, that begins to trigger a couple of parts of myself that went through that experience back in the 90s. And I have not spoken from that part of myself a lot. I don't I don't think I touched that a whole lot. I'm touching it now because I'm talking about it, so it's coming up. And what comes up is the memories of the Black community here in Philadelphia in the 90s. During that time, I worked as a social worker. I worked for CPS, Child Welfare, aka DHS. DHS. I was a DHS social worker. I started out with them. I believe I work as a child therapist in the 90s. It's a therapist. And as a social worker, I forget. I worked in addictions. I worked in addictions in the 90s, and because that was a big field. So many of our families were, hooked on crack and working to get off of it, and working in the field of addiction, working with children who had been in foster care, were in foster care and foster homes, and it was a pretty tumultuous time. I think I did get married. And my husband and I married in 95. I finished my master's degree in 93. So, 90 to 93, as a student in the master's program, I also, you have what do you call it, a clinical on site, a practicum, your practicum. So you're going to work at an agency and you're working. I also work as, because I'm an adult at 30, in 95, I was 35. So I'm also a new wife, and I have a home, and I have a full-time job, and I'm a full-time student. I did all that shit, yeah, during that time. And during that time is when our communities was pretty much cracked up. So I was always very comfortable and committed to working for the people, helping the people. It was about educate to elevate. So I educated and I came back to the hood like I was taught to do in the 60s and 70s. I was taught to do that. And so I came back to the hood and they didn't want to hear shit I had to say. So, I work with folks in child welfare, addiction. The 90s was a wild ride, so to speak. And I recall many of clients that I worked with during that time, they, the music, the music during that time was all about the hip hop and gangster rap. Tupac was still living then. And I had clients, were struggling with their crack cocaine addiction, yet they were listening to people like Tupac before he was murdered. And I remember one lady, she told me, because I told her, well, when I come next week, play me some Tupac so I can hear what is the message. What do you get? How does it help you? What do you do? And she suggested to me, you don't want to hear that. And I did want to hear it, yet I never did hear it. With that family, I don't know what happened, but anyway, it never happened. And so in the 90s, I was not paying attention to what they were saying. I didn't want to hear it. I suppose I heard enough that I knew that I did not want to listen to gangster rap. That did not set well in my soul. Things they were singing about and talking about, and I didn't really pay attention. And I was not really up on rap music. I didn't have children. My siblings had children. My oldest sister with her children, and she was all wrapped up in it. Her with her children, which makes sense because that's what was going on during that time period. I could remove myself because I didn't have children, so I didn't listen to that if I didn't want to. At any rate, how did I get to this piece? I'm not quite sure. And yeah, I suppose there's nobody checked in with me yet. People come on their chat and they'll sit and wait and they'll wait for some, I guess they wait for some numbers to show up and see that somebody's in the room, and somebody will say hi to them in the chat or something, and he say, hey, okay, so hey, I'm talking to you. I have not received that type of response just yet. And just for today, now in 2024, it doesn't matter to me that I don't have it. I'm okay with talking to me. I talk to me, myself, and I'm looking at my camera. I see me on the stage here. I see no one in the chat. I see no little eyes. Nobody's in the room. So, I know I'm just talking to me, myself, and I for the moment. However, there may be a you out there listening to me now, which would be after the fact for me. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know where I get it from. It was just how I was born to think in that way. And people have been telling me since the age of 8 that I was quote unquote deep. No, you deep. That's deep. And when I talk with folks in the group, there's always one or two folks who say, ooh, that gives me chills. So I understand there's something in my energy and my voice that comes across very powerfully, and it tends to scare people a bit. And my family members have always worked to teach me how to tone it down. However, what happened is it's toned me down to the part where I just shut down and I didn't say shit. Like, okay. Now I'm working and struggling to reclaim that voice and speak my truth, speak what's true for me, speak my mind, teach, do it. I came here on this planet to do. And I know that I'm a woman, I'm a child before my time. Yeah, and all that good stuff. Yeah. I kind of leave it there. It's neither here nor there, so we leave it there, just for today, just for now. What can I say? It's like I said, I'm listening to, following the news on the internet. I'm waiting and hoping somebody come and give me a thumbs up, or like, a share, or something. Say, hey, she live over there. Oh, let me go see what she talking about. Everybody want to come and see what she's talking about. And so what you're going to hear is, like I said, I am a traumatized traumatologist. So you will hear the different parts of me coming forth and back. And I'm right for the moment. I'm gonna just let it go. I'm gonna let all of me be free. Be free to say what they're thinking. Because we have all these different thoughts that come up. And just for the record, what I'm doing over here, I'm trying to get to my other screen so that I can play something, and it's giving me a challenge as I'm learning to work with it. Yeah, so today's Tuesday. All praises to Abner. The spirit of Abner, Bena, and Bena means Tuesday in the Ghanaian language of tree. Tree. It's pronounced tree, spelled TWI. And Tree is one language that is spoken in Ghana. And Bana is for Tuesday born. I'm a Tuesday born, so I'm Abana. Tuesday in Ghanaian tradition, I don't know if Tree per se is a religion or a language. I need to look that up. I forget. I learned this stuff some 25 years ago. Yet, Bena Tuesday is a high holy day in Ghanaian tradition. And that is the day that warrior spirits and energies come through. And that's me. I've learned about myself, as I work to practice recovery and reclaiming my African self, understanding, having come to know that I was definitely culturally enslaved. And the first that was, what the fuck? We programmed to self-destruct. We're all admitted, socialized to think and behave like Europeans. Because we are all in this system of racism, white supremacy. We are all programmed into that system. And as a result, my African life was out of whack. And as I work to recover my African life, my African spirit, my traditions as a woman of African descent, which embraces a we versus an I. One thing I was thinking about earlier today, and I reflect upon myself as I listen to and watch some Black folk whom I have supported in my life, and looking at the return, if you will, or what came out of it. All right, so I'll start with my coaches first, because I suppose the coaching shit, that's gonna come up for me first, because that's the last thing I've been actively engaged in my life. Contracting, hiring coaches to support me with coaching as I'm working to develop my own business and becoming a business person, an entrepreneur, something I never wanted to do because I was working in the hoods for me and you. And I'm at a point now where I need to make some money and, working in the hood and working in those agencies in the hood. That was the issue for me. That was the primary issue. Because they don't want to pay you shit to work, in the hood. And for me, I was okay with what I did get in terms of pay. I was okay only in the sense that it allowed me to assure my basic needs. And I was okay with just the basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter. I was not focused on more money to be able to vacation, to be able to house, to be able to this and this and that. It wasn't where I was, and it wasn't what I was necessarily. My formative years did not support that mindset. That's not the mindset I received in the early 60s, okay? It was educate to elevate. Those were the messages that I was following. That was the mandate I was following. I became educated and I came back and worked to elevate, and they didn't want it because the community had been cracked up at that point. And that's what I worked through during the 90s. And then 2000 come along, I worked on my PhD, I kind of got my shit together, got back in school, got in my PhD program, and then my husband decided to fuck up because then by the 2000, the men was jacked. They were on some other time. And as I am seeing and learning and seeing now the impact of the music industry, entertainment, hip hop, misogyny, and all of the things that hip hop brought to the communities, that really did a number. It really did a number on us. And So much so, again, I've said this in an earlier meeting, so much so that the slime has made its way deep down into our roots, up into the Maroon community, where our roots are as African people. In the reggae, up in the hills, the Chelani, Flagstar, in our Maroon communities, the heart of African culture. And the slime has reached the roots. And so we are in some major trouble, peoples. I like this child here. What's her name? Kadishalin. Definitely looks like a black child name. Who named a white girl Kadishalin? Did she have a black parent? At any rate, the influencers who do their job with uncovering information for us and sharing it is awesome between herself. Oh, Vicky. Yeah. See, this is the problem, and this has been the problem as I see it. And that's why my program is non-anonymous. It's not a secret. It's non-anonymous. And it's difficult to have healthy and effective conversations and communication with others when and if we have to hide parts and pieces. Because that's the thing I said earlier, allegedly. You cannot say your thought about somebody's shit without saying allegedly. Because if you don't say allegedly, what happens? What happens? What, you're open for a lawsuit? Is that what happens? Because if I could say Jay-Z, Diddy, Oprah, all of them, Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart, Denzel, Cuba Gooding Jr., all of them have been engaging in shit and shitty behaviors, demonic shit, underworld shit that the elite do. It's what the elite do. And for black folks who are in that elite status, that's what you're going to do too. And that includes all of those folks that we love to listen to follow, to admire, to look up to desire to be like even. However, people don't know when you go in that door on the elite stage, there's a back door that they go automatically drop to the fucking underground shit. They've shown us these dynamics in different TV shows over time. I've never been good with naming an artist. I may know the song word for word, but don't ask me who's singing. And I may have heard that artist 50 times. At least that's how it was when I was a kid with Stevie, with Smokey Robinson. Every time they ask me, who that? I know, but I'll be singing that song and dancing my little self off. Who that? Smokey Robinson. Certain people I knew Michael Jackson. I knew the Jackson 5 when they sang. I knew Stevie Wonder when he sang. But other artists, my ear, I don't have that ear. I cannot carry a note if you put it in the bag. I don't have that songstress voice at all. I understand and know that. I have a very low, deep voice. Right. So, and that's been, for me, my voice, it's like, damn, as I think about it, my voice has always been an issue for me. I was always ridiculed for my voice because I was always accused of sounding like a man. Deep, low, deep, the deepness in me. Because I ended up having that big bass voice, deep bass voice, like Maccabee and what's his name? I can see his image in my mind. His name will come to me in a minute. Anyway, but I have that deep bass type of voice for a female. That didn't mix very well back in the 60s and the 70s. along with the dark skin and very natural nappy hair. Wasn't a very pretty thing. So my voice was pretty much silenced a lot. And I would cringe when I heard myself on a video or audio recording, the tape recorder, the 8 tracks and shit we had back then. I hated to be recorded because I would hear myself and I'd sound like a male. And so my voice was suppressed. I was a middle child of 5. So, I was in the middle. You just kind of get quiet. The 2 oldest ones, they got the biggest mouth. The 2 youngest ones you take care of. They listened to me, the youngest ones, until they got older. They started listening to the older ones, and that kind of shut me back down. On top of that, growing up in the 60s and 70s and being interested in education. In the 60s, we were frowned upon, we were ridiculed. People teased me all the damn time in school. They called me the teacher's pet because I was quote unquote smart. Because I was smart and I was interested in learning. So I was very attentive to shit because I wanted to learn. I like learning. Learning is fun. It's an interesting shit. Tell me more. And, my peers were not very pleased with that. And they let me know that many different ways. However, that's just me. I'm not even, again, here I go, then gone off on this trail. And however, this is my platform for being able to have a place to just get some shit out of my head. At this point, in this stage in the game, for myself, being a widow, having no children, and being disconnected from that quote unquote bio family as I move into, 2025, having come to a place of full acceptance of myself. And the things that I'm learning about myself, it's just like awesome. I'm loving it. I'm loving me. And I love learning. So I remain open to the shit that's happening in the world.
To pay witnesses to lie on the lawyer.
I follow the news and I love learning. So I listen and I follow and learn what's happening in the world. I need to know what's getting ready to come next because I got to, do what I have to do to prepare for protecting myself. And there are many things that are not in place that I'd like to see in place so that I need to work on. And it's like, I don't know, it's not new. Back in, what was it, 1999, when, the computer trips and the world was going to crash. There was going to be a major crash and there was going to be this whole thing. And we were back then doing things like assuring that we had emergency medical equipment, a couple months worth of dry food and shit stored up because things were going to crash. It didn't crash then. It seems like it's getting ready, the next major scare is upon us. And while it's interesting because while they are keeping us distracted with this Diddy and Jay-Z and all this underworld shit, because they had pulled the rug out on the black section of the underworld. Because that's only one, there's probably not even a quarter of the territory that we're being shown. We're just showing the black sector that's being exposed. So black people, our heads is all wrapped up in this shit. And in the meantime, you might want to stop and somebody need to send a scout out to see what's happening over here on the other side. So yeah, on the other side, Vicky Diller, she's showing us shit that's happening on the political arena and shit. I follow. I saw a video today about AI and how they're going to use this AI shit and what's coming down the pike in the next 5 to 10-ish years, if that long, with the chip, the microchip in the brain, and how they will be using virtual reality tools. Mm-hmm. And although I use virtual reality now, I think I'm still safe, but it's not going to be very safe in the next 5 years as they continue to move forward their agenda. However, because you children, it seems, of the 80s and beyond are not interested in listening to myself and my generation and what we can share with you and help prepare so you could be better prepared for what's the fuck already happened. See, Diddy and them, that generation, they didn't listen. They it's not so much that they didn't listen because their parents was cracked the fuck up. Their communities was cracked the fuck up. They were already traumatized and jacked up. Look, I saw one video I looked at today, and it showed an image of Kim Porter as a child. And Kim Porter, that picture, that child she wasn't more than 10 years old. However, her dress was dressed as a very much a young adult female in the entertainment shit. So I'm like, oh, well, where she come from? What were her family background, and how early did she get into the entertainment world? Because that, for me, helps explain why she would have been with a person like Diddy, going through the shit she went through for as long as she went through, to the point where she lost her life as a result of it. But that shit started early. And when I saw that image and that picture that Kimora showed, that her friend Kimora, in a video with her, Kim Porter couldn't have been no more than 10 years old, but she was dressed in stage dress and clothes for a little girl. Now, I understand what happened to the little child here, John Benet Ramsey. And I don't know if that was in Jersey, I think John Benet was in. But John Benet Ramsey was a 6-year-old little white girl in the entertainment industry who disappeared. And then there's all this who killed John Benet. A week or so later, they came up with a body. And this has been the whole story of John Benet Ramsey for years here. I don't believe that they have actually any charged or convicted anyone for that child's death. However, knowing what I know now, I suspect that child died in one of them damn tunnels. That child was one of them party favors. Because that's how they were treating children in the entertainment industry. That child died with one of them fucking rituals and shit they had to try to figure out. So it took them a week or so to try to come up with a damn story to cover up what happened to that child. That's what I believe happened to her. Now that I know what has been happening in the underworld. We used to think the underworld was, just down there 13th and Locust with the prostitutes and shit. Nah, it's shit deeper than that. Underworld is the underworld, literally and figuratively, it seems. Because it appears that literally there is a whole world underground that apparently has whole transportation systems and stores and homes, and every damn thing you need is right underground in the fucking tunnels. They have tunnels underground. And those tunnels lead to places like elementary schools or schools. Schools, if it's a school, that means children there. Between 5 and 18, the children, the schools. Amusement parks where children go to, where we take children. Tunnels under there, court systems, shit like that. They just take them underground and disappear them. Till you see their face on a milk carton or some shit. It's like, oh, that's what's been happening. All those children that's been disappearing and on milk cartons. They even had them kids underground, doing all kind of weird foolishness and wickedness, and this is pretty sad. Yeah. Now listen to Vicky, and one thing that hit me with that's what made me talk about being anonymous and the struggles of being non-anonymous. Because when you're non-anonymous, then you become a threat because you're going to tell the truth about some shit. Ain't no secret. I'm not trying to sugarcoat shit. It's time to clean up the shit. We don't want to sugarcoat the shit. We want to flush this shit out, wash it and clean it up. The only way to do that is to expose it. You know. So as I listen, I work to listen. I listen a bit to Vicky. I couldn't listen very long. Because what just came across, just in terms of looking at how we are all culturally enslaved here, as I looked at the Vicky, and she got her hair done, so she got a new set of hair. Shit. Hair, her curly braids. Her curly braids are much, much longer. She has hair flowing all the way down her waist area, and it's so much full. There's so much fullness in it that you get to pull it back the way little white girls used to do with their hair. And how I see black women on videos and shit, all the girls with they weaves and shit, and all this hair, and then all the goddamn lashes, and all the makeup and the jewelry, and just it's like, the fuck, this vanity. What the hell? Uh, Not hating per se, because as I thought to myself, as I talked it through myself earlier, with myself, me, myself, and I had to have a conversation like, well, why you talk about it? This is what she want to do. I think I know. Yet at the same time, look at this shit. Yo, do we not understand, the cultural enslavement? This is an example of fucking cultural enslavement as I see it. Because I don't know. Coming from where I'm from, I want my hair to be fucking natural. I don't have to add hair. But why do you add all this hair? It's just everywhere. Like, it's a distraction for me. For me, it was just distracting. And then as you push all the hair back, then I just see all the earrings and jewelry. All that's nice. It's great. Like I said, for myself, back in my 30s and 40s, I wore makeup. I stopped wearing makeup and all that shit probably around about my 30s, mid 30s. Early 40s, but probably more about my early 40s. It's when I kind of stopped with the makeup and all that shit. Like, I just didn't have time for it anymore. I don't know. I started growing my locks. I started, embracing myself as a woman of African descent in my culture. And for me, it meant I didn't need this makeup, all this makeup. And then I'm learning about shit that's in the makeup. I'm like, I'm not putting that on. There's a whole lot of shit we learned, 20, 30 years ago that I believe is information is pretty much lost if all that shit fell through the cracks. The knowledge and the information that we got from the previous generation that we are not able to pass on to the next generation because many of those parents in my generation fell through the fucking cracks. They were not paying attention. During the 90s, I was active as a Black social worker. So all through the 90s as a Black social worker, I went to Black social work conferences every year. Every year. And I listened and learned from Black scholars, politicians, teachers, preachers, spiritual leaders. And that information was for me because I really couldn't pass it on to the community because they was all cracked up. So they really wasn't interested in hearing it. What I could do in the Black community was help families that were struggling and working to recover, get their shit together and take care of the kids. That was the focus. At the same time, I was learning what the fuck was happening and what happened and what we needed to do. Oh God. And then the 2000s came. Oh, good Lord, by the 2000s. I don't know what happened to other black social workers. However, black women had a lot of leadership positions during the 2000s in the mental health arena, especially community mental health based shit. The black women was in charge. And many of them black women had sort of sold out. They sold out. See, part of what is happening for me and what gets triggered is the memories of the experiences of dealing with them during that time. How it affected me, how it impacted the clients I work with, and the fucking black children in our communities. That these black women who are my supervisors and directors and shit, this is shit y'all really doing. I could not fathom it. However, I witnessed it and I saw it. And you know how we're taught in the black community not to talk about other black people. You want to bring a black man down, you want to bring your sister down, or you just jealous or this. That mentality that was given to us, that was nurtured in us to do the job that it has done, rip us the fuck apart. And now Ginger is triggered, and it's like, and you just don't want to fucking see that. You act like you don't fucking see that shit. All you black women who making money off us black asses, off us poor black asses who don't know what the fuck you know. Yeah, I got a whole lot of fucking knowledge and information up in fucking here. I'm not trying to sell it like that. I sell it enough. I just need to pay the fucking rent and buy me some food. I ain't got to live in no damn mansion here in America, fucking America, where we all fucking enslaved in, and we trying to get up out of this shit. But you want to do like them, get as much as you can get for you, and fuck the rest of us. The fuck is wrong with y'all? You really lost your goddamn African mind. Your African life is fucking. There's no fucking African life in bullshit behaviors like that. And this maybe is it my fucking mistake that I support black businesses. I kept supporting black businesses even when they didn't give a shit about me. I still want to support you just because you're a fucking black business and because I got enough goddamn sense not to feed my fucking oppressor. Oh yeah, because I've learned, I know there's several other platforms and shit I can buy into to do the shit I'm doing on your platform for half the fucking price. Do I want to do that? No, because I want to support my black brother and sister, and you my sister. Oh, that's right. But to you, I'm just a fucking dollar bill. That's the world we live in today. That's the society we live in, right? You see this shit, Marcus? That's what we in. Yeah. So I listened. I heard that. Oh wow, I heard us. The camera fucking snap. Google still listening to me. I heard that shit in my pocket. This phone has been down here in my pocket all this time, and I just heard it take a goddamn picture. I heard a click click. I'm looking at this phone. I don't know what all this shit is that got open. I ain't opened up. Of course, none of it has been in my pocket for the last 50 minutes. About time to get ready to get off here. We still have no business. Hey. Anyway, when you as you come through and you pass through, like, share, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, say hi, how you doing? If you ever see this, I don't know who will ever see my videos. You know what? Because that's what I'm getting ready to do, and that's what Spirit gave me to do, and that is this third. My series is it's like the Chronicles. It's a chronicle. I'm just chronicling my life story for somebody in the future when shit all fucked up and people go find little hard drives and memory drives and shit like that. This is for you. The chronicles of me, Mama Earth, here on planet Earth. When you know when it's gonna be interesting. I guess I don't know what are those tunnels about, and when the major fallout happens, the nuclear war, and everybody has to go underground. You know, they've been showing us in TV shows and movies. I remember seeing TV shows where I guess it was the Terminator, things like the Terminator series. You know, and you have factions living underground, the revolutionaries underground, and shit in the tunnels. Well, right now, the elite control the tunnel systems. But I guess at some point, you know, there'll be a faction of do-gooders or you know revolutionaries who will have space in one of them tunnels down underground. Because everybody gonna have to go underground when the nuclear war shit come, if it comes. Who knows? All kind of possibilities are out there. Yeah, so like I said, I'm gonna. It's probably time for me to get off of here because I'm beginning to feel a bit more distressed by the fact I've been on here for almost an hour. Hey, how you doing? I got one person checking in finally because I'm about to get up out. I was like, I've been there about an hour and nobody coming in, and I'm just talking. I'm chronicling though, information that's going to be available for that generation 10, 15 years from now. So that's how I kind of think about it and go ahead and share what I'm saying. If you come on and you listen and you want to hear something, you want to engage, then give me a shout out, say something, and I can kind of come back and connect. But people kind of come in, if you slip in, somebody been doing a live, somebody been doing a live for 30, 40, 50 minutes, and a person slips in, they don't follow the conversation, you're because you just slipped in 40, 50 minutes into the conversation. Don't say anything, so there's no engagement, and to bring the person who's speaking on board with you. So yeah, I was about getting ready to wrap up at any rate when a person will pop in, and they popped in and they popped in and they popped in, they popped out. I didn't get a like, I didn't get a conversation, nothing. That's not nice. That's not healthy. It's not effective. I'm about healthy and effective communication. Unless, depending on what the person was looking for, determines effectiveness or not, right? So, and what time is it? 9:30. 9:30 p.m. Time for me to get ready to go. Get something to eat for dinner on this late night. Yet I'm having a good time talking and sharing and doing the lives. I'm having a good time with it. I'll keep doing it because, like I said, it gives me an opportunity to share my thoughts and my feelings, and until someone else comes and join me, say hi, how you doing? Give me a thumbs up, say hi in the chat. Let's engage. Let's engage. Let's talk. And so I'm gonna wrap up for the night. And until next time, from the recovery room of Racism Non Anonymous with me, Sis Abner Africa. Thanks in the meantime for listening to me share, and drop a comment. Tell me what you're thinking. When am I saying anything that you resonate with? What's your experience like with black professionals? What's your experiences like, if any, with black professionals in the mental health, social service arena? Yeah, that's the focus for tonight. Stay safe until next time. Peace.